Hi everyone, welcome to Writer's Corner. I'm Radrani, and once again I'd like to share another one of my short stories with you all. And today's story is called Anita's Secret. It's an old story, it's one of the earliest ones I wrote as an adult. I first wrote it back in 2002, and then in 2006 I made some changes to it, like changing the dates, the events, names, etc. And I revisited it in 2015 and made some more changes, including changing the title. And I hope that all these changes have brought some improvement to it, and I hope that you like it. So here we go. Anita's Secret. It was a cold evening in January 2006. Outside, the snow began to come down with steadiness, and a gentle wind blew. Sean was doing an extra shift at the hospital, while I spent an evening at home, tidying up, reorganizing the shelves and drawers, when I suddenly came across some photographs and a postcard under a pile of old papers. Taking a closer look, I saw that they were from my university days, taken with my friends on various occasions. I browsed through them, smiling nostalgically at the familiar faces, recollecting all those happy, funny, and beautiful moments. One of the photographs was taken on my 21st birthday with a group of close friends. A few were from our first Christmas together, and a couple from Anita's wedding. Anita was the first amongst us to get married and the first one to get divorced. I still kept in touch with all of them, all except Anita. The last time she had written to me was 5 years ago. First came a postcard sent during her visit to India, then a brief note declining an invitation to my wedding. I could never understand why Anita did not come on that day. She just claimed that she urgently needed to visit a close cousin in Ireland. I never heard from her after that. Anita was an only child. Her mother passed away when she was 10 years old. Her father soon remarried, a distant relative this time. Anita shared a strained relationship with him and her stepmother, and was never really a part of the family. To her they were strangers. Her mother's death had left her an orphan. The only relative she ever mentioned and frequently stayed with was her maternal aunt, who coincidentally lived in the same town as my parents. I first met Anita in my first year of medical school. She was Anglo-Indian, born to an English mother and an Indian father. However, she was not Indian enough for her traditional Indian stepmother, who seemed to disapprove of Anita and her Western ways, as she put it. Anita was an attractive girl, tall, curvaceous, with a pleasant face and sharp features, the most striking being her large liquid eyes. She could certainly win a man's attention, but never his heart. I remembered her as always being cheerful and very talkative, but behind those laughing eyes I could see the years of sadness and hurt. Something was missing, yet she was the most compassionate and benevolent soul I had ever met. I fondly recalled our conversations, the places we visited, the movies we watched, and the dreams we shared. I suddenly found myself longing for those uncomplicated bygone years of my life. I reached for the postcard. On the front was a picture of the Taj Mahal. I remembered this being on her list of places to visit. The card was dated 20th of March 2001. It read, "Hi Fiona, I finally made it here. How are you doing? I'm having a great time. I came in Jan and I'm hoping to stay for a little longer. I've been down south, helped out in an eye camp. Amazing experience. I met some new friends, lovely people. I'm here with them. It's so hot, I'm roasting. But a fantastic place, you should come too. Peter and I are sorting out divorce proceedings. Long story, will tell you when I get back. Running out of space, got to go. See you soon. Love, Anita." I could not help but wonder about her. So many questions and thoughts lingered in my mind. Where she was now, what she might be doing, had she married again, and possibly children. It irked me that she had suddenly severed all contacts with me without any explanation. Over the next couple of days, nostalgic memories haunted me, and I pondered as to whether I should contact her again. Finally, one morning I found two telephone numbers, her mobile number, which was out of order, and then her aunt's, which was the only other option. As I dialed, hoping this number had not changed, my pulse raised slightly with excitement and anticipation. "Hello," said a soft, gentle voice. It was Linda Marshall, Anita's aunt. I recognized her voice instantly. It had not changed one bit. "Hello, is this Linda Marshall?" "Yes, who's calling, please?" "Hi, I'm Fiona Barton, Anita's friend." There was a sudden momentary silence. "Hello, Linda?" "Yes, sorry, I'm still here. She paused. "Sorry, is this a bad time? Are you busy? Shall I call back later?" I quickly interrupted. "No, no, I'm actually very glad you phoned. Believe it or not, I've been trying to get hold of you for quite some time now. I've lost your phone number and address. Anyway, how are you keeping?" "Fine, thank you. How about yourself?" "Yes, we're okay," she said quietly. Her voice sounded wistful and her words unconvincing. "I'm glad your number hasn't changed. So you obviously still live in Wellington then?" I asked. "Yes, same town and still the same house." "So your parents still live here?" she inquired. "I haven't seen them around. Your mother used to come to the library, but I haven't seen her there lately." "Right. Well, they still live there. I guess they've been busy organising my brother's wedding, and they've also been doing quite a lot of travelling lately." After a few minutes of exchanging pleasantries, I asked, "How can I reach Anita? Is she still living with you? Her mobile number is out of order, and I was wondering if you could give me her contact details, please. I'd really like to get in touch with her again. It's been a while. How is she anyway?" She hesitated. After a short pause, she replied, "I'm sorry, Fiona. Anita died 6 months ago." "What? How? What happened?" "A road accident. A lorry crashed into her car. The lorry driver was texting on his mobile phone and trying to change lanes at the same time. Her car hit another car and that driver was badly injured but survived. Anita was the unlucky one. She died in the ambulance on the way to hospital. The doctors said there was no way anyone could have survived those injuries." I listened in incredulous silence. "It was in the local newspaper," she added. "It was so sudden, so unexpected. We're still grieving." "Where was the funeral?" "Oh, she was cremated at, you know the crematorium opposite the old country park, don't you?" "Yes, yes." "There's something else I need to tell you." "It's quite important, but I'd prefer to tell you in person than over the phone," she informed. "Can we meet up? Is that okay with you?" "Yes, of course. Would you like to come to my house? I live in Shawbirch now with my husband. I'll give you the address. It's not far from Wellington," I said rather earnestly. "All right." She took my address. "Will tomorrow afternoon be okay? Say 2 o'clock?" she asked. "Yes, brilliant. I'll see you then. Bye." "Bye, Fiona." Still holding on to the phone, I slowly walked towards a sofa by the window and sat down. I stared out through the glass with tearful eyes and a heavy heart into the darkness of the night. The trees were like black silhouettes dancing in the gentle breeze. The snowfall had ceased and the street was now carpeted with a bed of snow that glistened in the dim light. Silence filled the room, so much so that it became suffocating. The atmosphere around me grew sombre, almost lifeless. Anita and her memories invaded my thoughts. The words "Anita died" lingered in my head. The truth was inconceivable. That night when Sean came home, I told him the news. He listened half attentively. "I'm sorry to hear that," he said politely, but was too preoccupied to absorb any more. It was a cold afternoon. The streets were still laden with thick snow, and rays of sunshine creeped through the trees. At exactly 2 o'clock there was a loud knock on the front door. I opened it with nervous excitement. "Hi, Linda." "Hello, Fiona," she said, smiling. In front of me stood a tall, slim, middle-aged woman, well dressed, looking dignified. Her long hair was neatly tied back, and a mere hint of makeup covered her face. A string of pearls decorated her slender neck, and pearl droplets hung from her earlobes. I noticed a little boy standing next to her, with his hands tightly clasping hers. "Oh, I'd like you to meet someone. This is Harry, my grandson." "Hello, little man. Aren't you cute? How are you?" I asked cheerfully, and gently ruffled his hair. He smiled shyly, turning his head and burying his face in his grandmother's coat. He looked strangely familiar, though at that moment I could not understand how or why. "Oh, do come in, please. It's very cold outside." I opened the door wider and stepped aside as they walked in. "Wipe your feet," she told the little boy. "You can hang your coats here," I said, pointing to the coat pegs. "Can leave your shoes on, and this is a toilet if you need it." I led them through to the living room. "Take a seat. Can I get you anything to drink?" "No, thank you. We're okay for now." She smiled again. "Lovely house. A nice cozy living space you have here," she said, scanning the room. "Thank you." She noticed the photo of Sean and I hanging on the wall and carefully inspected it. "The area seems nice too. Nice estate, lovely houses," she added. "Yes, thank you. It's quiet and pleasant, and the neighbours are really friendly and helpful. We love it here." "Oh, that's good. Yes, having decent, friendly neighbours always helps." "So, I hope you didn't have any trouble getting here. How were the roads? Much traffic?" No, not a problem. The main roads are clear, a lot of gritting, so not a problem. The traffic was fine. It's not peak hours, I suppose." She seemed more at ease and comfortable. "I take it your husband's at work?" "Yes, he works at the Royal Infirmary." "Right. And what about you?" "Yes, I'm a GP, but I went part-time last year." "Oh, okay," she said, slightly surprised. "Well, at least that gives you time for yourself." "So, Linda, you haven't changed. You haven't aged one bit since I last saw you. When was that? Almost 6 years ago?" "Ah, don't be silly," she laughed. No, seriously," I replied. "Thank you, you're very kind." She blushed slightly, but liked the compliments. "And you're looking well too." "Thanks." I turned to the boy. "I hope you're not getting bored, Harry." "No." He shook his head, smiling bashfully, and exchanged glances with his grandmother. "My name's Harry," he said, enunciating the syllables. "It's not Harry." "Oh, sorry. Well, it's a lovely name, Harry. So, how old are you then?" "4," he replied, raising his palm, showing 4 fingers. "Wow, so you'll be going to big school soon." "Yes, I am," he said proudly. "So, is your mummy at work while you stay with Nana?" Suddenly his face sank and his smile disappeared. "Mummy's in heaven. Nana told me. She's not coming back, but Nana says she can still see me," he murmured meekly. He lowered his gaze and began toying with his sweater sleeves. I looked at Linda searchingly. Her face grew heavy. "He's Anita's son," she announced. "That's what I came to talk to you about." "What? And she didn't even tell me?" I exclaimed indignantly. "When? How? Is he Peter's? Did she get married again?" She looked at me despairingly. "He's not Peter's, and she never married again after they divorced." "Are you Mummy's friend?" interrupted Harry. "Yes, I am." I reached for his hands and held them gently. "And yours too." He gave a slight smile and felt comforted by my gesture and words. Anita's son. No wonder he looked familiar. He looks just like her, I thought. He had the same large liquid eyes with long thick lashes, and his eyebrows were perfectly shaped as if drawn with a pencil. His rosy cheeks dimpled when he smiled, and thick black curly locks framed his pretty face. "Do you have children?" she asked inquisitively. "No," I said. "It's a long story. We'll save that for another day." I turned to Harry. "Why don't you watch some TV? I suggested, and looked at Linda for her approval. Yes, of course, she nodded. And would you like some hot chocolate and biscuits? Yes, please, he cried. And I'll make us some coffee, or would you prefer some tea? No, coffee's fine. Milk, no sugar, please, she replied. As I handed the drinks and biscuits, she said, Thank you, and turning to Harry, prompted, Magic words? Thank you, he said softly. So please, carry on. You were going to tell me about Harry's father, I said half inquiringly. Yes, well, Harry's father is a Sean Barton. He's a doctor, a surgeon, if I'm correct. Anyway, Anita met him during her visit to India. She showed me a photograph of the two of them with a couple of his friends. Their relationship was short-lived, and sadly they lost touch. He's from Manchester. Well, he was working there at the time. Sorry, can I just stop you there? What did you say his name was? Sean Barton, a surgeon. Yes, she said, looking at me in all seriousness. As I was saying, she continued her narration, 5 years ago she went on a trip to India. A spur-of-the-moment thing. She claimed she wanted to learn about her Indian roots. Truth is, she was going through a rough divorce, and she took on her mother's maiden name, Thompson, and I think she just wanted to get away. She went in January and was there for about 4 months. Did she meet? Sorry, please let me finish. It'll all make sense in a minute, said Linda. I found myself wondering, is he who I think he is? Can't be, can it? I listened as she spoke without a pause, as if she were reading a commentary. When she realized she was expecting, she cut her trip short and returned home. She lived with us until Harry was born in December that year. Then she moved out, bought a house further down the street, so we still saw each other every day. She planned on telling him and wasn't worried about how he would react. But just after you told her you were engaged, she then suddenly changed her mind. She said she would tell him in her own time, but she never did. She didn't even want to tell any of her friends. I didn't understand why, but it was her choice. We never discussed the matter. I remember you also sent a wedding invitation. I was surprised when she didn't attend your wedding. When I asked her, she said she was busy and had to work. I knew she was lying. I just assumed you both had a quarrel or something like that. She told me she had to visit a cousin in Ireland and it was urgent, I interrupted annoyedly. Oh, yes, she did go. My daughter lives there. Anita stayed with her for a couple of weeks, I think. She paused to take a sip of her coffee. Immensely intrigued, I listened quietly. After a few days after Anita died, she began, I was going through some of her things, just trying to decide what to keep and... Anyway, I came across these photos. She reached into her bag and carefully took out an envelope. One is the photo she showed me earlier of Harry's father taken when they met in India. Then a few from your wedding, a couple are from your engagement. You must have sent them to her. She never mentioned them or showed them. I think she was hiding them from me. When I saw them, I immediately recognized his face, and I remembered where I last saw him. I understood everything. Here, take a look. I quickly opened the envelope and slid the photos out. I turned my attention to the new, unfamiliar one. I was stupefied. I blushed in mortification at what I saw. Sean had his arm around her, and she was leaning gently against his shoulder. Anita looked slightly leaner, her hair was shorter, and she had tanned a shade or two. But she was still as beautiful as I remembered. Sean looked the same, perhaps a few kilos lighter then. Their gleeful faces smiled directly into the camera. They looked the perfect couple. On the back of the photograph it was dated 19th March 2001. It struck me that this was around the time she sent the postcard. His name and address were written on the back. The address was familiar, it was his parents', and the handwriting was his. A vague sense of uneasiness came upon me. Linda watched me concernedly as I scrutinized every inch of it. She anticipatively awaited my response. Though I stayed calm, my pulse raced. I looked at her with disillusionment and remained taciturn for a few moments. Her face softened. I know it's a lot to take in, she said in a delicate voice. Would she ever have told me, or Sean? I asked, breaking my silence. I really don't know. Only she could have answered that. What does Harry think? Has he asked about his daddy? She looked at me plaintively. He thinks his father is dead. It's only fair that he knows the truth sooner the better. Then reaching into her handbag, she said, I almost forgot. These are of Anita and Harry taken a month before she died. She handed me 2 more photographs. She missed his 4th birthday, though. Pity, she added despondently. I looked at the 2 images with slight envy. They were truly 2 magical moments captured between mother and son. It was obvious that they were very close, she being the devoted mother and he the doting son. Do her father and stepmother know? What did they say? Her father never had a say in anything. Her stepmother made sure of that, she scorned. Having a failed marriage and being an unwed mother didn't go down too well with her. Anita was soon forgotten and disowned. What about Harry? He is their grandson after all. Not according to them. They didn't want to know. She looked at the clock. It was past 4. Gosh, is that the time? She exclaimed, checking her watch. We'd better go before the evening traffic. She rose from her chair and began to gather her belongings. I'll leave those with you, she said, pointing to the photographs. Can we stay in touch, Linda? Oh, yes, of course. I'd like that. I would like to see Harry again. Get to know him more, spend more time. Yes, all right. I'm sure he'd like that. She stretched out her hand to Harry and called, Harry, come on, sweetheart, we're going home now. He obediently came to his grandmother and quietly put his coat on. Say thank you to Fiona, she told him. Thank you, he said. Are you going to come to my house now? He asked. I knelt down and took his hands. His innocent face looked at me expectantly. Stroking his soft cheeks, I replied, Not now, Harry. Maybe tomorrow. Oh, okay then. I'll see you tomorrow. I kissed his cheek before saying bye to them both. He quickly returned a warm, tender hug. I sensed his longing. Perhaps he deeply felt his mother's absence. I switched the television off. Once again silence filled the room. I sat down trying to collect my thoughts. I recalled the long conversation with Linda and tried to rationalize the surreal events. I surprised myself at how collectedly I had approached the situation. Bizarrely, I bore no resentment towards Anita. Though wounded by her secret, I had no feelings of anger nor contempt. I did not even feel a tinge of jealousy when I saw the photographs of her and Sean. I understood her reasons. I was moved by her intentions. Perhaps I would have done the same had the roles been reversed. My sympathies went to Harry, the shy, timid little boy with his innocent face, his large, beseeching eyes, the little acts of affection, the lost child. I felt a strange bond with him. I liked him enough to love him as my own, perhaps. I looked at the photographs again. I remembered an initial conversation with Sean. He had mentioned an Anita Thompson. He even said that Anita looked somewhat familiar when I once showed him a few photographs of my friends. But I never questioned it then, nor did I find it odd. I never even knew that her mother's maiden name was Thompson. I failed to see that we both once knew the same Anita. That evening, after dinner and the usual exchange of conversation, I waited until what seemed the right moment. I frankly recounted the conversation with Linda, allowing no interruption from him. Then, without another utterance, I placed the photographs and even the postcard firmly in his hands. I watched him intently as he studied and analysed them, trying hard to fathom the truth. With bated breath, I awaited a reaction from him. He approached me slowly. He looked at me with honest eyes. I sensed his perturbation. He began nervously. You didn't know? No, he shook his head fervently. It was before you, before us. She was just a faded memory. But he is still your son, I said, gesturing to his photograph. The words felt strange on my lips. He was astonished at my calm and composed state. He almost feared it. He threw me a dubious glance. Don't worry. I don't have anything nasty planned for you, I said, attempting humour. He forced a smile. I'll phone Linda tomorrow. We'll go and meet her, okay? Okay, but no buts. My mind is made up. Life is too short. Yes, he whispered in agreement. Everything will be just fine, I said. I took his hand and smiled at him warmly, awaiting a new day, a new beginning. The end. Thank you for watching, and I hope you liked it. Please click like, share, and subscribe, and I hope to see you again.